Hello, everyone. It's me, Keara Fraser, back. John Tisue is a guest of episode 9 of Have a Tisue podcast. I have hijacked his podcast to get listeners the answers to questions that he has posed for his guests in previous podcasts. I know we've all been wanting these answers, so I'm here to give the listeners what we really want. We discuss his leadership philosophy, his advice to Airman Tisue if he can go back in time, and changes that he'd like to see before he leaves the Air Force. This is a little bit of a reverse podcast, and we hope you guys enjoy it. Welcome back to the Have a Tisue podcast. Something's different, and it's because I've hijacked this podcast, and I'm here to get the answers every one of your viewers have been wanting to hear for the past however many weeks that your podcast has kicked off. We've been hearing all these amazing answers from all these great leaders, but we want to know what TP's answers are.
Oh,
so
it's a lot of pressure.
That's what we're going to do. So before we start, do you want to tell the audience anything about yourself they might not already know besides you? I can tell you what we already know.
What do you already know?
You don't like making plans.
Oh, that's true.
That's about it. You repeated that. You don't like plans.
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually a really good topic in itself. I have never liked plans. Like, if someone flakes on you and then you're just left out, or like whenever I make plans and then a better plan comes up, I'm like, well, I can't be that person flaking and leaving them out. So I feel like the most fun happens when you just never make a plan. Like traveling, if you have to be at the Statue of Liberty at a certain time, it's just miserable. I don't even want to be there when I'm actually there. I'm like, oh, I could have been doing something else.
Work. Yeah. It's way better when you show up whenever you want. And then everyone's like, whoa, super surprised you showed up.
It's like autonomy. Yeah, that plans suck. I have to make so many plans for 40 to however many hours a week every week for work. So whenever it's my off time, I don't want to make a plan. Like, have you ever had a gym partner and they're like, we're going to the gym at 5 a.m., right? It's like, man, like, yeah, I was going to go, but now I don't want to go because your ass told me we have to be there.
I wouldn't know if that was the cause or if I'm just perpetually never wanting to go to the gym. Doesn't matter.
A little bit of both.
So, but yes. Okay. Now that you've explained it, I think now we have a better picture on it. Is there anything else about yourself you'd like to share? You haven't gone out on a podcast just because it hasn't been the right timing. We should know as an audience.
Yeah, so it's never about me. And this is kind of nice to be on the other side and be like, oh, look at this person. They want to ask me questions because I'm important and I'm interesting. Brian Belfort did it in a podcast once a couple months ago. That was where I got into this stuff. But it is interesting to be on the other side. Like, you wanted to do this and I just had to show up and say whatever I'm thinking in the moment. Hopefully my hair looks okay today. I should have lifted weights so I could be a little bit stronger looking. But here I am. I didn't make any plans and now we're here. We're doing this thing on your big day. I don't know if anyone noticed this giant painting, Giovanni.
You probably didn't notice. It's no big deal. It blends in with the background. No, this is actually really, really great gift. But I'm super thankful because the person that did this, whoever may or may not be in this room right now, as an audience member, it means a lot. I actually got choked up when it was unveiled to me because, it's hard when you are going through career, ambitions and you're even meeting those goals. And then, your normal support system isn't in the room with you. My husband is not in the room with me. And everyone's in the same situation here at Kunsan. But it's hard. So, to have so many people that care, it meant the world. So I super appreciate it. And I appreciate you putting your stamp on it if that was the least that you did to help this person get this done, because this is an awesome project. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Well, all I did is put a stamp on it, but it is a good project, and I'm glad you like it. And I'm sorry Matt can't be here to join you.
It's all good. It's all good. Thank you so much.
But now he gets to maybe watch this and see a little bit of another hour or so, however long this lasts, of your big day.
Okay.
She was pretty happy, Matt.
Catch up. Just kidding.
When we presented her the stripes and the commander said, "How do you feel?" Her Kiara's words were, "Well, my husband just put tech on, and I can't wait to call him and say, guess what?" Like that was your first thought, is just competing against your husband.
The pettiness never ends. No, I just know how excited he gets for me, and the same for, the same vice versa. I get excited for his accomplishments. He's been through a lot too at Columbus, a lot of career goals that he's met while I wasn't there. Like, right now he's going towards RapCon Watch Soup, but he got his RapCon ratings, and when he got the hardest position, I wasn't there for that, and that was like a big thing because he came from McDill Tower. When you work McDill Tower, you're gonna be surrounded by people from different bases with a lot more experience that say, listen, you're here, you started here, you're grown up here, and the next base is gonna be tough because you're going from like 13,000 annual ops to boom traffic, no matter, and then let alone Columbus, where it's one of the busier places. So he killed it, and I'm really proud of him. Sucks that we can't be together for those types of things, but I think we've done pretty well to support each other despite everything. Yep. But this isn't about me.
Yeah. It's gonna be.
I can't believe you did it already. We're like 5 minutes in and you're already...
Yeah, we have an audience for that. We have an audience for the first time. They paid $100 to sit in and listen to this.
There's a ghost. Okay. Our Jamie, we borrowed Jamie from a more popular podcast that I won't mention, and they're here. Multiple Jamies are here to help us with any Google things that come up. But So is there any last thing you want to like tell the audience? Not this audience, but better audience. Just kidding. The YouTube audience.
And the Spotify audience.
Spotify.
That's the
what are your other platforms? YouTube, Spotify.
Pocket Cast, Anchor. Google Podcasts. Apple wouldn't accept me. I don't know why. They didn't like me. They didn't like my art.
Breaks my iPhone in half.
Yeah. Why do I wear this watch?
Well, there you go. So tell all those audience members if there's anything else you haven't told them about yourself that is interesting that you want to get out there. Definitely do it.
Yeah, I don't know what's really interesting about me. I'd like to think I'm interesting and have passion and vision and goals and admirable in my own ways, but to like try to quantify what makes me unique is very difficult and confusing and hard. So, yeah, I think I would just be rambling if I answered that. So I'm excited for the multiple sticky notes that you have for me. I'm trying to glance down and look at them while you're not looking at me so I can start prepping while I'm answering these easy questions. Because before we did this, someone told me that one of the questions is, how do you feel about abandoning your people? And I have no idea.
That's question number 6. We're probably not going to get to it. Just kidding.
What is this question about? I need to get that one out of the way so I can move on with my thoughts. Interesting about me, I was a military kid growing up. Been to a lot of different places. I went to 3 different high schools. This is my 5th base. Yeah, and that is it. That is all that is interesting about me.
Okay, well, I'm going to ease into this whole podcasting thing and do something different.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to start the crowd off with a couple easy questions, like 20 question type stuff.
Okay. Is it like just quick yes or no things?
No. You're going to have to give me answers, and I'm going to even write it down just to help us recall what you've said and stuff.
I should start doing that.
Well, it's hard to multitask. I'm just, I don't know what I'm doing here. Let's go.
All right.
So the first icebreaker question is, I need to know what your favorite color is. And I don't need to just know what your favorite color is. I need to know 3 reasons why. Do you know where I'm going with this?
I don't.
All right, this is just 2 questions, so it's good that you don't know.
So blue.
Okay.
And I think I was probably 2nd grade when I was first asked that question, and I said blue, and I can't change from that because I already picked a color. So now it's blue.
So wait, so you're not going to change your favorite color over years, decades of your life because that's just what you picked?
Yeah. That's like, so Space Jam, if you ever want to hack me and it says, what is your favorite movie? Space Jam. And I don't even like
I love Space Jam,
but I made that when my first account, and I can't just change my favorite movie. Like that has to be my favorite movie now.
What do you call that?
What?
When someone is
commitment, loyalty, dedication.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Audience member. Unruly audience members. But yes. Okay. All right. So you're committed to blue. Can you give me 2 more reasons why? Or is it just that?
No, I mean, it is. Obviously, I liked it in 2nd grade, and 7-year-old me was probably pretty smarter than 31-year-old me. It is a good color. I think it's probably the most popular favorite color.
You think so?
I think so. I don't know that. It's a Googleable thing if we had a Jamie or 3.
What if it's the most popular color? Maybe. Okay, Jamie, can we see what the most popular color in? It's probably different in every nation, but we'll just go with the United States since we're from there-ish.
Where are we from?
I'm from the United States. Okay. Well, I'm not like part of the states. I'm like a territory.
Mm-hmm.
It's all good though.
And today
no hard feelings.
Today was your day. I'm not trying to get off topic. We'll get back when we get our answer, but this thing is cool. Something that you said stop talking about me, so I tried to cut it out. But just like that, you and Matt are competitive and get happy about each other, even when you can't be around each other. Mm-hmm. Just like in general with friends, like when a bunch of my friends just got promoted to master, and it sucks that I didn't know sooner, so I couldn't do anything for them. But it's just like those moments where you're actually really happy that you see someone work hard and then they succeed and they hit this goal that everyone wants. Like Chief Wood said in that thing today, like when everyone enlists, that is a goal, whether you admit it or not. Anyone that enlists and plans on staying in, they want to hit that. And so it's cool. Like it's a reminder of how other people's success you somehow find joy in. Like when other people win awards, there's a lot of satisfaction. Sorry, it'll become more about you more often.
No, so that's true.
Get used to it.
Jamie, what you got?
For the record, blue is by far the most popular.
Blue is by
accounting for anywhere from 20 to 30% depending on the country.
Okay, blue is by far. Oh, depending on the country, but it is in the world. The most favorite? Worldwide, blue is the favorite color. Okay. Wow. I'm learning this podcast as well because of Jamie and our audience members.
Oh, I almost gave up, like trying to rip this band off.
You're doing it the wrong way. Do you want to know the trick? Is you go behind and you use the one that is behind and you...
What looked more masculine, though? My way or your way?
I think the mental capability that I just demonstrated by doing it the easier route.
Google which was the more masculine way of removing a wrist.
My bad. I'm just kidding.
Also, I also really enjoy looking into this. It's going to sound like kind of... I know autistic's probably a bad word. I'm going to say it. I will very often get caught just looking up at the sky like, well, I bet there's a bunch of like cool... Or at night, because at night I guess is darker. But like even in the daytime, I'll just like look in the sky. Like thinking what's out there, and the sky's blue, so maybe I'm more drawn to blue because of that, and the Air Force, which
Air Force. Okay,
cool.
I don't get the sky thing though.
Like the sky, what color is the sky?
Because it's mysterious, or that's not even the way you're supposed to say that word. Mysterious.
Yeah, just like in general, how space it's so big, and so like I'm looking up at like there's just billions and trillions of miles and things up there.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot. So you're really deep into this favorite color thing. That's good.
I didn't think I was, but you made me.
But yeah, it's interesting. Okay. So
when are we going to talk about ATC?
The second question, and that's it. Just this favorite color, and then the second icebreaker is your favorite animal, and try and give me, again, 3 reasons why.
Ooh. I feel like a dog is really generic, but when
that's
I had
favorite,
it is. I mean, when I had a pet dog, his name was Wrangler. After the vehicle, sure, or the pair of jeans, but just coming home from work and no matter what, that little asshole would like sprint to turn the corner and make sure it's me and then sprint to me every time I got off work. Like I would get really excited opening my door and just seeing this little stupid dog do that every time. It was a routine. And then no matter what, no matter how happy or sad you were, he was in the same mood every time. He probably was just hungry. I really needed to pee.
Okay. I mean, no, I think dogs have like a certain loyalty that's pretty staple. But is there any other reason why you wanted to add to your list of why dogs are your favorite so the audience knows?
That's tough. And I don't really have a reason. Like, that's such a tough question.
Dogs are awesome. Animal? Mine was an otter, if you're wondering.
Wait.
My favorite animal was an otter.
Your favorite dog was an otter? That's not a dog.
I have exotic animals.
That is a good answer.
I like otters.
Like the my favorite pair of underwear has a bunch of platypuses on it, and it's like, but a platypus is a stupid favorite animal, so I'm gonna go with dog.
Dog. Okay, so you. Okay, all right. So I feel like you gave.
Dylan's gonna go dig through my underwear drawer.
He's just stealing your underwear.
Look at these platypuses.
We have an audience member who might just be very curious about that last thing you said. All right, cool. So, now we're going to go back because my icebreakers had to do with relational psychology. Teal Swan, her videos, I'll send you the link. Maybe you can put it in, one of your, or the description if people are interested because they can follow along and if maybe they might have done this themselves too. alongside us doing it, but we're going to go into your answers because they say your favorite color and favorite animals. There might be a reason why, aside from just the basic answer, you feel that way. So your favorite color is blue, and they want to say your favorite color is how you view yourself. So if you want to know what your answers were, blue, you said committed, loyal, popular, favorite. And then we talked about space, how infinite it was. Mm-hmm. There's more to it than you look up and you're just staring at just vast, infinite space.
Is this all on your notepad?
Yes. You said it, though. I'm writing it, but
okay.
we talked about it.
Yeah.
So those are some things you said about blue, and that is how you view yourself, according to relational psychology. Mm. What are your thoughts?
You're
worried. Like, bullshit.
I'm worried I'm going to get told I'm like the complete opposite of what I think I am.
No.
I think
this is how you view yourself. So really, I agree with it. Even if someone disagreed, shut up. You know what I mean?
It's like a horoscope. Every no matter which one I read, yeah, that's me. Like every time, they're always me. But those sound like me.
Okay. So I'm sure you're curious about favorite animal. Your favorite animal is your ideal partner. And you said they sprint to you, happy to see you, and you come home. Stupid dog.
She's so stupid for wanting to be with me.
Stupid. And then they're the same mood and hungry. So that is your ideal partner.
I agree.
According to relational psychology. Boom. So that's our icebreaker. Something different, but, also now the crowd knows you like blue and you like dogs. So multiple things gained from that little project.
Send this on my next... Whenever I make a dating profile, this will be it.
Yeah. And Till Swan, in her video, she shares about how she went on a date and she'll ask these questions. And her date said, I like butterflies. And she asked why. He said, well, they're only really around when you want them there. They're pretty and they don't say anything.
Is that who she married?
No, she never went on a second date, and she'll say that in her videos. But it's one of those things that's pretty funny.
That is really funny, and I do like that because I guess I agree with it. Like if I had to pick a ideal partner, sure, I'd want someone excited to see me. I don't really know how hungry applies, but I guess I like to go out to eat once in a while.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's good.
So now we're gonna get into the actual tea. We want to know the answers to these questions. Are you ready?
I am ready, but before we go on, I have to ask. You obviously learned this quiz from someone and you took it yourself. Did you agree with your favorite, the two that came for you, and your reasons for liking them?
Oh yes, I was a big laugh, I think, when I did mine. Like I picked gray, and my answers were just silver, and like my answers originally were just I couldn't think any deeper, so I'd be like, it's sparkly. That's how I view myself. I'm sparkly. And then it's different, it's unique, it's a mix, whatever. Those are the way I view myself. And then I picked otter. It's playful. Everyone loves them. You know what I mean? And I was like, Matt is like a fun guy. Everyone loves him. So maybe it is accurate. But I enjoyed doing that little relational psychology test too. Thing is, I knew it was relational psychology going into it. You didn't, so I wanted to see what the difference would be.
You had an advantage.
You gave me way better answers, even though you didn't know. Like,
well, you knew.
I
that's
said
why you
sparkly.
Yeah, he seems sparkly.
That's as deep as I am.
It works out.
You said committed, loyal. I'm like, okay,
this is going
this
great.
Is the most popular, favorite. My goodness.
I've been like caught up. I wouldn't say caught up, but I've liked a girl for about 10 years now. I would even maybe use the other L word for it. And so when I'm like, why do I like blue? I don't know. It's what I picked in second grade. I was like, oh, maybe that's why. I picked someone.
That's it.
You're my person, whether you want to be or not.
Yeah, I've picked you.
You belong to me now.
No. Oh my gosh.
All right, next question.
Okay, so here we're getting into things that I know I as a viewer have wanted to hear. I've heard other great answers from the leaders you've interviewed, and now I'm wanting to know what your answer is. So the first one is, what is your leadership philosophy?
Oh, see, I'm really upset you asked me that because I do have a generic one. And as the recent Air Power Leadership Academy director, and I had every student create one and brief it, and it took like each student 5 minutes to talk about. mine is not as detailed as all of those students. And a couple of them listen to this podcast, and they're going to be so disappointed that I didn't have this long, drawn-out thing like they did. But I would say mine is, and it stems, I kind of always thought this way, and then talking to Chief Billy Davis, our career field manager for air traffic, the way he words it is what I really like. And he basically says is treat everybody like your brother or your sister. So if you wouldn't, I had an older sister growing up. I never had a little brother or little sister, but I could imagine the amount of respect and admiration and help I would give that person, a little brother or little sister, if I had one. And so when I'm working with my peers or even our subordinates, it's like, well, if this person's in trouble, if they need help, sure, it's 5 o'clock and I could go home or do nothing, but I could also do something for them. Like if this was my actual little brother, if Dylan was my little brother and needed help, I'm not just going to be like, good luck, dude, I'm out. It's my time to leave. Like you're going to do more. You're going to care more. And so if you can just look at people like their own little brother or little sister, you're going to do so much more. And they're going to feel that brotherly, sisterly, what is it? Sibling connection. And so I guess that's mine, is just treat people like they're actually important to you. And shit will work from there.
It's not as generic as you think. It's one of those things that's easier said than done, because I feel like so many times you think it's basic advice to tell people, hey, you should care about one another. But how do you inspire that?
Yeah.
How do you make people care about each other? That's not my second question, but it's our conversation.
That's really tough for like me to make like another master sergeant that I haven't known until this month to be like, hey dude, you need to start caring about people. Like clearly the dude's person hasn't cared about people for this long. You can't just make them care. So I guess all you can do is care more and make sure the people underneath you when they become your peer are also caring about people. There's that book we're reading, Chief Keel, the Guide to Maximizing Your Enlistment. I don't know how far you're in. I'm in chapter 8 now for our book club. And it's in there, and it's like everyone says take care of your airmen, but now people are just saying that, and they're not actually doing it. And I was like, I really like that. I was like, because everyone says that, but actions aren't always showing that.
Some people don't know that they're not doing it, especially if they didn't have that for them, then they're just kind of following the mold that's been set for them. So it's weird to like, you're always hearing the same thing, but it's like another deal. I wish someone would give me straight up advice. Like, how did you do it? Did you walk into a facility, you walk into a crew where they legit, they're here for their 8 to 4 and they leave. It's not about the person to your left or right. And I can imagine if you're anybody like me, when you join, you have this certain perception about the military where it's a brotherhood. I got your 6. And I've heard that since I've been in, especially from people that are not the majority. It doesn't feel that way when you join. There's not that brotherhood. There's not anyone that gets your 6. It's actually more like watch your back. And how do you turn that around? It's hard. We need to teach that. How do you inspire people to actually care about each other and not just their careers when they're trained to look out for themselves and look out for their careers? And that's why a lot of people, I think, chase the wrong things. And even people that are trying to help each other are only trying to help each other get promoted. So what are we really inspiring?
Yeah. What's the answer?
Tough. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out every day. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Me and Derek Pace would very often start drinking and then try to solve all of the Air Force problems, like shit like this.
I don't know.
We would have our 3 drinks and then just try to solve it. And we would actually come up with some decent ideas. And I don't have one for that particular scenario.
It's hard. No, it's hard, but that's, I feel, what a lot of, I think, shops probably go through. Because it's easy to get into the 8 to 5 or 8 to 4 mix and then do your time and leave. But when you are part of a team that genuinely cares about each other, it's such a noticeable difference. Yeah. You just want to see it everywhere. You try to make it happen for every shop that you work with.
Yeah, attitudes are contagious. I feel like when people are in that environment where people are caring about each other, they're just like, well, I need to do that too.
I think so too. It only takes, I think, a few people to get on board. So maybe, aside from modeling the behavior yourself, you know what I mean? And people, I think, look at you like you're extra as hell, or you do too much. You're being fake, or whatever the heck. That might be the initial impression, but just keep doing you. And I think you'll just model the behavior that you want to see in others, because I don't know what else aside from that you can do.
Here's my random pitch. That's probably a bad idea, but it's the thought I'm having in the moment. We have an award for person of the quarter for every rank. We have an award for volunteer. Let's create an award, like the wingman award of the wingman of the quarter. Who took care of people and how. And then there's like some reason to do it if you're even doing it for the wrong reasons. But like people do it and try to recognize, hey, this motherfucker took care of someone. That's my pitch.
You know, I feel like that's a pretty good idea because there are a lot of situations that I don't feel look pretty competitive on a bullet, but because it's simply like doing things for other people. But it's not like, it's not going to look right in a bullet. It's not primary duty. It's just supervisory stuff. So, you know, not necessarily might not be primary duty.
Whole airman.
I mean, it is, but even whole airman, it's not the typical education or leadership role, hard set in an executive position at council, that type of thing. It's just doing something for an airman. It's hard to capture, I guess, maybe.
It is hard to capture.
But yeah, I feel like that's not a bad idea. But awards, right?
Yeah.
It's a different game. But are you ready for the second question? Unless you want to talk about awards.
Nope.
It's not my third.
So it's funny because I think you're the same way because in our podcast we didn't ask, and awards come up sometime and these things, and every time I talk about myself and then I'm like, as soon as I start, I'm like, this is stupid, and I regret bringing this up. So let's both not talk about awards. Like even with Keo, I could tell he didn't like it.
Great. All right, that's fine.
All right.
So my second question is about awards. Just kidding. Okay.
Do you listen to me?
No. So.
Right.
Well, I asked a second question, but it was just based off the first question. My second written question is, what would you tell, if you can go back in time, what would you tell Airman Tisue?
Man.
You can only tell him one thing, so let's build the scene.
Okay.
You pop out of a portal, boom, you're there in front of yourself as airman. You have 10 seconds before you're sucked back in.
You know, there's probably some really wise thing, like start reading earlier, people say I have no regrets. I have a regret. When I was a trainer, my first trainee was Tanner Newton, and I didn't train him. It was like it was acceptable in my first basis culture to just be like, oh, it's on them to ask for training and plug in and write. And so that's how I was trained. And so when I was a trainer, I did the same thing. I just didn't care about Tanner Newton's training. And now it really he got rated, fortunately, on his own will and intelligence. He did it. But that was something I've always kind of regretted because I just didn't care. And obviously, phones aren't allowed in the tower cab, but I found a way to distract myself through books and other things. But what I would probably tell myself if I wasn't going to be like, give a shit about Tanner and the next couple of trainees you have, would be invest in Bitcoin and sell around April 2021.
Okay.
That would probably be it.
All right. That's pretty good. And I have heard your story about training before. I know that there's some guilt there. So I don't remember if you talked about it before, but did you connect with him again about that?
I did. I messaged him. I told him to listen to this podcast, which is Belford's podcast. Sent him the link, and he just said, why? So I was like, dude, just listen. Here's the minute mark. Why? And he just didn't do it. And maybe if he did, he didn't say anything to me. So I guess I didn't. Yeah, I got a peer pressure him into doing it again.
But have you guys talked outside of that?
Sort of, yeah. We're in a group chat. So me and there's 9 of us that we're all 3 levels off it together. Or we're airmen together. Maybe not 3 levels together. But 9 of us, and we all still talk every day. We share our successes and dumb jokes and memes. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of the memes you send, I take and I use as my own in that chat.
I'm offended.
And I do it all.
You stole my stolen memes.
Yep, like the TSD ones, they didn't even get it.
Okay. It's still funny. Okay. Well, maybe when they're in the NASA position, they'll be like, I'm reusing these because they apply now.
Yes, it's the greatest idea. I think that's probably my best idea of life.
Of life?
Of life.
Okay. I'll have to apply more meme competitions.
Yep.
All right, so next question.
Okay.
What is after the Air Force for you?
Oh, man. So let me tell you what I think about plans. Don't like them. I'll let future John figure it out.
Okay.
If I had to pick today, I would open up a scuba shop somewhere. I really like the island Malta. I really like that place. I hear Guam's cool. Never been there. But that's what I want to do. Just open a scuba dive shop where I kind of just work when someone schedules to they want to get their certification or just go with someone who can keep them alive.
Yep.
Overcharge them. Just
all
something
the tourists.
simple.
Yep.
Yeah, just something real simple where I work when I want to and get tan and just do all the other little things that I want to do. I think when I retire, I will have enough money to never do anything again. And so as long as I can continue that. But then there's a chance I'll have that family thing going on. So then I got to take care of these little humans or this lovable dog thing that's happy to see me and hungry. So yeah, future John's gonna have to figure it out.
I think you can do it all. I think you can bum around and have a family.
Yeah.
I'll give you my dad's contact.
Is he doing it?
He is he's living the surf life. And he had a family. Talk to my mom about how she feels about the balance of it. I don't know.
Stresses her out.
No, I'm sure she was. It's still parenting, but he had the island life. He surfs all the time, and he doesn't have a scuba shop. It's not like he had a business, but he surfed a bunch, motocross. So he had that island life. So I think it's doable to have. I think it's all on how your relationship is. But,
yeah, it's doable. It's just I feel like it's not as easy. Yeah.
No, it's probably more stressful than you're picturing in your mind.
And that's about me. What do you want to do in 10 years from now or 11 years from now?
Me?
Yeah. Or 21 years from now.
It's not about me.
I know, but
the audience is warning me not to fall into your trap.
What did she do?
Nothing. I can just tell.
Just answer, what do you want to do in 21 years?
In 21 years?
11 to 21 years when you retire.
11 to 21 years. I can't even do that math. No, okay, so I would love if I get out of the Air Force, become an instructor for JROTC just to kind of put my foot into education, and it's an instructor spot, but I'm still, serving DOD, so you're double dipping there. You get to inspire students the way I was inspired. So I'll be lucky to have that position and then find a way to gain more experience that gets me enough tenure and experience to at least attempt to get a board position later on, or administrative, then board, then maybe politics.
Ooh, politics. I like that.
Maybe.
Hopefully these don't pull you down when they pull them up.
There's politics everywhere, so.
So, do you want to go back to Guam and be a JROTC teacher?
I would. That would be my preferred, only because that's where I got it. So why not serve? Why not, try and return something to the community that gave so much to you?
And your high school only had one, right? Yigo? What city are you from?
Jigo.
Mm-hmm.
And there was, the high school I went to was Simon Sanchez, and the JROTC program was an Army JROTC program. Okay.
And so luckily I get out before you, and that is now my new goal.
That's what you're going to do?
To take that job.
That's fine.
So you can.
I will be there. We can both be instructors. Oh. And we will have dysfunctional students under us.
That's my new goal. All right, perfect. I'm glad you answered that.
Boom.
Thank you for
And you can have your scuba shop. I will invest.
Oh.
I will invest.
This is the best podcast ever.
There you go.
All right.
Boom. And I have contacts over there. You already got the hookups. You're good.
I'm so glad I started this podcast.
Boom.
This reverse podcast.
Right. So, I'm going to get into the next question.
Okay.
This is the one I'm really excited about. The leadership philosophy, awesome. This other thing is Air Force A, and I want to know. At least 2 things you'd like to see change in the Air Force by the time you leave. 2 things you'd like to see change, or 2 changes you'd like to take part in before you leave.
That's extremely difficult. I think something that a lot of air traffic controllers are going to disagree with me is the way that we literally bully the shit out of each other in position and think it's acceptable and cool to do. I would say when I was a 3 level, I did learn from that. Spencer Watson was an asshole. William Green, the guy was not nice to me. But luckily, I needed that, because if they just didn't care, then I wouldn't have studied or felt the reason I studied was to not get yelled at. And that's terrible. But I also feel like the love language words of affirmation thing. If they would have just been nice to me when I studied once in a while, I would have been just as receptive. Trying to get after that again. But so my capstone for my bachelor's was about air traffic control training and what is the word? That's not volatile. I forgot the exact word I used. We'll just say volatile. The harsh training environment, hostile. That's it. Air traffic control training, the hostile training environment. Is it good or bad? And there was actually someone who already made a report on it.
On air traffic as well?
Yeah, on that training environment, how it impacts. There was a bunch of other stuff in there, but there was a section, a chapter of that. I have the reference on my computer because I used it for every resource for every part of this capstone. And it was showing that people who get rated, and then they did a survey, I forget how many they did, maybe 200 people. If they got rated, most of them were no, this is a good thing that it's like that. And then the people that didn't make it, or the people that got transferred, because FAA, if you don't make it, they'll just send you to an easier facility. Those people, it was 30% was yeah, it's hostile and bad. And so in general, the surveys are almost whack. If you get qualified, just throw that survey out, because they're not going to be honest. They're just going to say it's good because they succeeded. But it was just a really interesting concept of like how I don't know, we literally, our job, we teach people to be an asshole, and like that's often admired. I think it's getting better. I don't know if you agree. I don't know how it was when you were 3 level. Okay, exactly. And I think it's better. When I remember like being a crew boss at Moody, and like when people were doing that, I'd pull the trainer out of position, like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why are you talking to them like that?
Yeah.
So
I was a toxic trainer.
Oh.
Actually,
and I was too, actually, at times.
Patel, he's in our group chat for finer things. DJ. He can tell you. DJ will tell you. There's one time I actually punched him. I was like, don't do that.
Like hard or just like?
Well, it's me. So of course it was hard. No, and then to me, I was like, we were having fun. I was like putting a twist on it because to me, other people's they're just being assholes. Whereas I was more like, all right, you make a mistake, 10 push-ups. And if you catch me making a mistake, guess what? I'll do 10 push-ups. And so on, so on. We'd be in the sim and he'd run a sim. Okay, cool. You know, this is what we need to work on. When it's me, I'll be like, here's a paper on your day training plan or whatever. However many mistakes you catch, I'm going to do push-ups for. Because I know for me, when my trainer ran a sim on himself and I watched him, I gained so much from that. Because you don't realize, you never really see 5 levels control when you're in the training program and there's lots of other trainees. It's just a constant flow of trainees in position. So you never see a 5-level control traffic.
So you guys, pro time, you got... Yeah, okay. I get it.
Yes.
Yeah, I know McDill had a shit ton of trainees. I know
we did, and there's no traffic. So it's like, if you messed up the one thing we had scheduled for the day, that's it. It's an unsat because we can't replicate that traffic. Yeah. And you didn't prove that you can, accomplish a task to the PCG standard or the, training guide standard. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but yeah, so I agree with you. I do think, just based off civilian input, it has gotten better. Even since when I first joined, it was a lot better. And since I've been in, it's gotten a lot better. But I always wonder, like, why was it acceptable in the first place? Like, why? I get to a certain degree because there's a pecking order in air traffic control, similar to how there's a pecking order in the medical field. If you mess up, someone's life is on the line. It's not a game. So there's no jokes here. Mm-hmm. If you mess up, you could kill somebody. There's a pecking order for a reason. But the hazing, and we almost do the opposite of what we intend, because we should want someone to strive to be a part of the team. You're going to want to work so hard to sit to the person to the left and make them trust you that when you finally get there and they're the ones hitting you in the chest when you got that badge on, shaking your hand, it puts a tear in your eye. And instead, we haze them every day. We tell them we're a piece of shit. So they're like, I don't want to sit next to this guy ever. Like, I never want to work with this guy. Let alone, I don't give a shit if I get rated. Send me wherever the hell. I don't care. Like, I don't want to be in this facility where every day I come to work and I'm being made to feel like a piece of shit. Yeah. So it's weird, our mind. It is.
Yeah. You're saying it better than me. It sounds like you should have wrote my capstone for me. It saved me a lot of time.
I want you to send that. Can you send that to me?
I'm embarrassed because you're like working on your doctorates in education, and I was just trying to pass the class.
You just read my bio and sent it back with all these typos, so don't even go there.
You had like 3 typos.
And then I sent that message in a group chat. I'm like, I'm here today, misspelled here. And then even in our chat, I said here, but I misspelled it again. I think that's my toxic trait, is I like to misspell the word here and do the opposite meaning. I
don't know the difference between effect and affect. I use the word impact just because I don't know and I can't learn it. Impact always.
Pro tip, everyone. Yeah. If you don't know, impact is a great synonym.
Getting away with it.
But please send that to me. But yeah. I do agree with you that that's a pretty good thing to write a capstone on because you were right in it. Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So you'd like to see that change?
I think it would be good. Like, I mean, as a person that's studying education in no educational, like, could you imagine if like school teachers are doing that? Like, kids would be terrified to go to school. Like, 3 levels aren't excited. Yeah. Most are very. I was not excited to go to work as a 3 level. I wasn't. No. I was very excited as 5 levels. Like, oh, this is nice. I don't do anything.
Yeah, I remember telling myself, oh, well, it's never going to be fun to be under the spotlight, under the magnifying glass. I get that. But I remember telling myself as a 3 level, I'm going to go to work. I'm not going to smile. I'm not going to laugh. I'm not going to pay attention to jokes. I'm just going to stare at my book. Yeah. because if you do anything otherwise, you're gonna get shat on. People are just going to haze you. And I get it to a certain point, because if I were to look up from my book and be participating in something, that was a distraction from the job, hell yeah, get on my ass. But we'd just be like, talk about something, anything human, have a human connection. Nope. Excuse me. Do not do that. You're not a human. You are a trainee.
Yes, like they're having a conversation that I can speak highly on. Hey guys, just look out your window. There's nothing out there.
Look out your window.
Oh, yeah, I was a very hazeable 3-level. Like I didn't have a sponsor. I was like 2 to 3 weeks out from getting off it, and I didn't have a sponsor, and everyone else did. So I called the first number I saw on like the global, and Lieutenant Colonel Boyd answered the phone. And he's like a Colonel Select, OSS commander. And I was like, oh, hey, sir, I must have the wrong number. He's like, no problem. What do you need? And I was like, well, I'm trying to get a hold of the tower because I get there in 2 weeks and I don't have a sponsor. And so clearly I just like the tower hated me off that alone.
Oh,
like,
no.
And then like it was like my first week there, and this guy, Sergeant Green, tech sergeant at the time, he master, he's retired now. I remember it was like my first week there, and they paged me and said, hey, can you call the tower? And I called, and he said, air traffic, Tech Sergeant Green. I said, hey, what's up, man? He's like, oh, what's up, man? Huh? Get up here. And I just got like laid into, and for the rest of my time there, it's like all people, hey, what's up, man? And
man.
It sucked. It just was.
How dare you?
But look at me now, Tech Sergeant Green. I got a podcast. And
oh my God. But yeah, that's how it is. It's like you don't welcome everybody. And there's no such thing as like golden rule, treat yourself how you want to be treated. Yep. The golden rule is treat yourself how you were treated, which was trash. It's just trash. You treat yourself, you pound each other to dirt because, you know what I mean, for the sake of tradition. Yeah. Shouldn't we know by now that tradition isn't the best reason to keep continuing doing something? So we're getting better, I think, but I think we have to continue to be purposeful about it, because not everyone understands why there are things changing. And instead, people think what we're doing is relaxing our standards. Yeah. And that's not what's happening. We have to, adapt to the changes that need to happen. And I don't know. It makes sense to me, but I don't think the why or, the whole thing has been communicated very well throughout the chain. Yep. Because I've definitely been on the receiving end of the complaints about coddling or, this generation, everyone coming in, they just, A, B, and C. But it is what it is. Yeah. People have their different viewpoints.
They do, and it really puts like a perception or ideas in the trainee's head. Another story from I was just as a 3-level, I was so afraid to like question or ask things. I had to get a root canal. I was like a flight data ground trainee. I was in just data because we didn't combine. I was in just data. And I was like in my first week, maybe second week, and I had to get a root canal. And I told the civilian, I won't say his name, I told him I had to go to the dentist. And he said, okay, do not go to Nick. I said, okay. And so I go to the dentist like 9 a.m. and it's a root canal. And they're like, hey, we need to numb your mouth for this. I was like, oh, no, I can't take that. They're like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm not allowed to go to Nick. I have to work today. And they're like, it's just a root canal. You're going to need to do that. And I didn't know really what a root canal was. I was like, can't do it. I was told not to go to Nick. And like, this is going to be really, really painful. And I was like, it's okay. Like I have to. And they even like she was like a lieutenant in like training. And so she was like the one that had to do it. And she was doing it, and it was a miserable experience. And then she like messed something up and she couldn't fix it. And I was obviously freaking out.
Yeah.
I was like 19 years old.
It's a traumatizing story. Yes.
And then so the major came in and did it, and they didn't do it right, but he got it done to good enough. And they sent me on my way, and like got into work at like noon, 1 o'clock, and was like, hey, I'm ready to plug in. They're like, oh, how's your dentist appointment? And I was like, oh, it sucked, but I'm good. I had a root canal. And the civilian was like, you had a root canal? You can't plug in. You're to Nick. I was like, oh, no, I didn't take the numbing. He's like, why? And I was like, you told me not to go to Nick, sir. And he was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And he sent me home for the day. And I was like, ooh, like as a 3-level, I was like, all right, that was a good trade. Like I got off work 2 hours early.
Oh my gosh.
I was just so happy I got to play Call of Duty 2 hours.
Not a good trade.
Yeah, that was like one of the worst. If you had to ask me the most painful moment of my life, like that was probably it.
I've complained about my wisdom tooth removal, and that's nothing close to your root canal.
Yeah.
Mine was just like, I didn't eat, but I was drinking water. like, oh, you don't eat for 12 hours before. I'm like, okay. I was drinking water, though. And then in the morning when I came in, they're like, oh, okay, that's you didn't eat for 12 hours? Like, nope, didn't eat. Like, okay, you didn't drink anything for 12 hours? Only water. They're like, wait, what? I was like, I've just been drinking water. Well, you know, women that do any procedure, they have to do the urinalysis beforehand to confirm they're not pregnant. So how am I supposed to pee in a freaking cup if I haven't had water for 12 hours?
How did you do it?
They didn't give me they didn't give me the anesthesia. They just, or whatever it is, they gave me numbing. They didn't, what is it? Local? I don't know what they call it. They gave me the numbing. They didn't put me out. Yeah. So I was awake the whole time and it was totally fine. I mean, I had this similar moment where like a tool broke in my mouth and then you hear the dentist say, uh-oh. You don't like to hear that. I was like, oh. So
I'm going to start saying that over the frequencies. Uh-oh. Traffic. Uh-oh.
I can't wait for you to get bro time.
I won't do that. No. Hey, Jamie, will you do that for me?
Jeez. So.
On B Crew.
Yes, make sure it's on B Crew. With the correct people on the desk to make sure that they don't explode and freak out. It'll have to be me on the desk.
Guys, it's okay.
Because I'm part of the inside joke. It's no. But yeah, that's nothing close to yours because I didn't feel pain. It was just weird. Yours, that's crazy.
Thanks for saying that. When you started talking, I was like, oh, you can have a better story.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying.
I'm about to make a story up.
I got my face removed one time. No anesthesia.
I don't have a penis.
I don't.
Beat that.
Okay. Same.
I guess so.
But yeah, no, that's crazy. That sounds painful. So that was one thing you said that you wanted to change about Air Force.
Yeah.
The hazing in the air traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything else that you'd like to see change in the Air Force before you leave or be a part of before you leave?
Yeah, through reading, actually, I forgot what book it was, but the competitiveness that the promotion system has made is really awful. Like I see it. I see it all the time, and it's really tough to see what people are willing to do and say about someone else to get a leg up, because only one or two people are probably going to get a stratification out of your group, especially an ops group, which is small with senior NCOs.
Yep.
And that really, really sucks because it's so hard. It's like you can't complete if you're competing or something like that. I forgot the exact way it's put, but compete or complete, or I don't know. I'm messing it up. But basically, when people are competing with each other, we're not going to do a great job. And you see it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how they were doing it before we got to this board scoring strat process, but I just don't like that because you see it all the time. And like even when people are doing things because they enjoy it or for the right reason, other people are just judgmental and they're like, oh, he's only doing it for the bullet. And it's like, well, no, dude, like we're in a book club because we actually like reading and it's fun and I look forward to it every week, not because of a bullet. Just shit like that. It's very irritating.
I'm still going to write a bullet. I'm going to write one
you should.
Even harder now.
Look like, so Mazzolini's into reading now. Garage, like so many people because of this book club you created are into reading. Keith Brown, I mean, I guess he does the audio stuff, but he didn't want to read leadership stuff. And he's like, oh, this was really interesting.
I like Mazzolini's pick too. I was actually pretty interested in it.
Compound effect.
I might do it sidebar.
Yeah, I'm getting too many suggestions now. I have too many side.
I do. That's why I did the audiobook for Grit. But okay, yeah. So if you don't know how to do it, but you'd like to see it become less competitive, that leads me to ask, do you think that this process that we're doing now is better than what we had it right beforehand, where before it wasn't stratified, it was simply same rating system, you can rate people 1 through 5, similar rating system, 1 through 5, and it wasn't stratified, or they didn't limit the number of people that could get the highest rating possible, second highest rating possible for people that aren't familiar with our rating system. Now they cap it so that not everyone in the Air Force can get that highest ranking or the second highest ranking. It's very limited. So do you think it's better now than it was before, or has it just breeded a different problem that might be even more of a, I guess
as a product of the old system, I liked it. Like I just knew like as long as you're doing good and you studied, you'd probably be okay. But I don't know, maybe I'm biased and selfish because it worked for me, so I like it. And so I could see how that, Yeah, I guess so. I'm only seeing it from the senior NCO side, is because that's when I was a factor in this new realm of promotion. And yeah, like if you so as a senior airman to a staff or a staff to tech, even if you don't get a strat, you can still make it if you study hard enough and do well on that test. Like you will be fine. You could be fine. But with ours, you don't get a strat, you're not making it. Like period. Start looking to the next year.
The tests don't exist anymore.
The tests don't exist, correct.
Yeah.
And the promotion rate's like 6%. So it's like if you're not in that top 10%, you're not making that top 6.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all or nothing at that point. And
you have to play your cards right, and it's not just for 1 year. You have to show sustained superior performance over numerous years to be picked. Okay, I get that.
And I don't even know how it was. I'm so ignorant to how it was before I got here because I just didn't care. I wasn't at that point, so I didn't know how it worked before, like 6 years ago. I think it might have been the same, honestly, for senior in chief.
I know that the board would look further back.
Yeah, I think it was 10 years before. Now it's 5.
Mm-hmm. But I was just curious because I wanted to see if you had thought that bettered our system or not. And I think that it bettered it in that, so one of the struggles that I think still exists is that there's still too big of a middle pool. Someone could, kind of be lazy or not really accomplish everything their peers are accomplishing as far as the higher PT scores and this or that, or even passing their PT test, but then they pass it the next time, and that's totally fine. But it's frustrating to the airmen or NCOs that do pass their PT test the first time around, that are coming to work doing what they're supposed to do, and they're still at the promote level instead of higher. Meanwhile, they're there with peers that have failed the first time around and had to give it a second or third shot. And at the end of the day, if you're meeting standards, you're meeting standards. But it's just frustrating because it's such a big pool. And then once you get into the stratified, the promote now, must promotes, those people are like birthing baby Jesus and on. So, it's frustrating to some people. And it's especially frustrating when you hear, the reasoning for some ratings 1 year will be, well, compared to this person's showing sustained superior performance, so they're going to get the stratification. Well, or they're going to get the must promote now. That doesn't make sense to me, because you should be assigning that for this year's performance, because this is an annual performance report. So why would you give someone else the,
nod?
Yeah. Why would you give them the extra points for something they did the year before? Why not reward the person who was down on his luck? He just fucking got the shit kicked out of him by life. And now guess what? He's coming back swinging. And he's showing you exactly what you said you wanted to see from everyone. That life doesn't stop just because you join the military. And so we want you to be resilient. That's the big thing. You want to build the minds of everyone who's serving. You want to make us stronger mentally, physically. And someone shows you that, and you're going to turn around and say, well, you're just like your peers because you didn't do that last year and the year before. This is this year. I want you to tell me that I've been doing exactly what you told me to do. And when you tell me that you're going to give me the same rating as someone who's just been, doing minimal work, they're just meeting the standard when I've been exceeding after coming back from A, B, and C, you're sending me mixed messages. So that's why I think our system could be better. Yeah. Yeah, but I agree with you. That's one of the changes I like to see too, is I'd like to see more feedback included from our system. I think that would I think change the way, the competitiveness.
Yeah, or just let peers review each other or something, just so people can know, hey, this motherfucker walks on everyone. This motherfucker's not a team player.
Yes. We do it with surveys, but also you rely heavily on the rating of your supervisor. Your supervisor writes your EPR. Your supervisor writes your EPR. They're the ones who, at the end of the day, is going to vouch for you, whether or not, to the next person, whether or not you should be getting the promote or must promote, the higher point gaining ratings. So if it's all based on their opinion, what about everyone else that leader directly impacts? Why aren't we talking to the people who are most impacted on the day-to-day? So that's what, I feel like we would gain a lot from that. You're only seeing half of the picture. You're only seeing probably what that person wants you to see. And if we simply just turn around and ask, a couple people can be completely anonymous, say that we put a percentage, say 20% of the supervisees of whatever, what their take is or any feedback. We didn't even need to put points on it.
Yeah.
But if leaders can put eyes on what their feedback was, they at least get a gauge on, one, if they're in tune with the whole facility, and two, if this leader is on the day-to-day serving their purpose. Because, you know, at the end of the day, they're serving the airmen, they're serving the NCOs at work. If they're in the middle tier, then they should be serving everyone under them to make sure the mission gets done.
Yeah.
If all they're doing is serving their image and serving what they, you know, serving looks, serving the bullets, then that should come out somehow. And I don't think it comes out enough. And that's how you get that competitive nature.
Yeah.
I don't think it could be competitive if you got feedback from everywhere, because that would come out really quick.
Yep.
People were climbing all over each other. I think that would come out. I don't know. I just think it would come out.
It's so tough. And I'm excited. I don't just say this to say it. Like, I think you're going to get pretty far. I'm excited to see what changes you make, because you have all these thoughts. Like, this was my ideal, what I want to do better. And like, well,
that's my number two. My number one, number one, everyone, Chick-fil-A and every BX. Vote for me, Chick-fil-A and every BX.
Oh, I should have said that. I'm going to edit this out. Chick-fil-A and every BX.
Oh, man.
That is good. What else? Oh, yeah, Chick-fil-A. That's a winner. If they had if being command chief was like politics, like running for president, that shit, you would win. I promise, a Chick-fil-A open on Sundays at your BX.
Minds explode.
You'd be sold.
Oh my gosh.
What would you change?
Well, the EPR system was one. With the feedback and everything like that. But yeah, that's my main one too, because I think that would help.
That helps to know that you had all those thoughts already somewhat thought of, instead of like, here's my thought, and then you were like ready to go. I was like, oh shit.
Oh no, yeah, no, because it's something I think about too.
Yeah.
I have like notes on the computer too, because
sticky notes.
Yes, the stickies or whatever, because the surveys always come out asking what could be different, and then my answers are always the same, because nothing hasn't changed soon enough in a year.
It's been my answers for 8 years now.
I've seen positive change in the Air Force, and I'm really happy with the direction we're going in. I just, I'm antsy. I want it to go faster.
Yeah. I used to say I hate change, and I still am resistant like everyone. And then Course 15 came out, and I was like, I really, really hate change. And then Chief Wright came in and got rid of Course 15. I was like, I love change. Change is great. And so now I have a whole different mindset. Like, change can be good. We can get rid of some of this dumb stuff.
Yeah. I mean, too, when you're like indoctrinated into something, and you've been doing it, it's just this long-standing thing that you joined, and it was already part of the process, or are already part of the tradition and the legacy, heritage, ABC, then it gets harder to let go of for some reason. It might be because of that, tribalism or whatever. It's part of me now. It's part of what this group does. You're changing something for no reason, A, B, and C. But if you just look big picture and see the benefit and how it benefits the tribe, it might be a different reaction. But I think human nature is to always change is just never going to be easily accepted. That's just human nature. But yes, I like your two things that you'd like to see change. One was career, and one was big Air Force. How very political of you.
I am trying to be the president of Guam.
Oh my gosh. I hope they vote for you. I would vote for you.
I wouldn't vote for me.
I would vote for you. Are you ready for your next question?
I'm ready.
So this next one is from one of the controllers on the floor.
Ooh.
And they ask, how do you keep your chill? How do you keep your good vibes, your positive attitude? How do you keep your chill? Because I think we can all agree, on the day-to-day, we know you have stressors. Mm-hmm. If we have stressors, you have stressors times 2, times 3, because you're going to have to deal with everything. So how do you keep your chill?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and it's good to hear that people think that about me, because that's, if I had to describe my chill or not chill, obviously the answer is easy on which one I'd prefer to be perceived as. I guess I don't know. That's really, I think because I know we're all alive. At the end of the day, we're going to go home at 5. If we probably wanted to, we could. I had a friend who he wrote a book, Robert Potter. He wrote his own book, and in it, I read half of it, and I'm sorry I never finished it, dude. And it's not that it was a bad book. I just I started a lot of books, and I get halfway through, and I stop, and that was one of them. But somewhere in it, I like to highlight things. I know you don't like highlighting books, but I highlight it. And he said, anytime you're dealing with something big, just treat it like it's something small. You know, something. He worded it a lot better, and I think I do that very often. Like something super stressful, and there's a lot of problems. I just don't think about it. I don't know. I just maybe playing sports as well, like or being in air traffic. Like it's stressful, and you just have to stay calm. I think I'm optimistic. Like the most stressful things, and when if people are like not chill, like then it becomes worse. So if you're just relaxed, like people are like, okay, maybe we can be relaxed about this. I don't know. I never really thought about that. I didn't know that was my perception, because I can think of moments KFT where I wasn't chill, or like, you know, like something happened to where I responded.
You weren't chill?
There was a moment where I was not.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think you were there. Like I could think of like these moments where I like emotionally responded to things, but it's good to know that I'm doing it in the right way. So whoever said that, who was it? Was it you? Was it Arroyo? Okay, well, whoever it was, thank you for. Oh, Shank.
Okay, yes. Okay, so it was Keena. Keena wanted that question asked, so. But I can agree that that's a perception. I don't feel like I get the vibe that you're stressed out or whatever. You know, coming from somebody who feels like that's something I'm working on too. Don't like looking too busy or looking too stressed or looking like what's happening in my brain, which is if I to put an image in everyone's head, the scene from SpongeBob where he's looking for his name in his brain. It's like all the little SpongeBobs running around and there's fires everywhere. That's my brain. I don't want to look like that's what it is.
Well, I would have never thought that.
All times I'm just like, but yes. I don't want it to appear that way, because at the end of the day, I think what you're talking about is true.
Yeah. I think it's really fun to, like, now that I'm in this position where I get to, like, when I was a crew boss, I loved it because people would have problems. I'm like, I don't know how to fix this, but I get to call and be like, I have an airman who has this problem. And I never had to be like, now I'll even if it's my problem, I'll call him like, I have an airman that has this problem, but it's my problem. And it's just like the scapegoat of like getting the answer from whatever. So anytime when stressful things are happening for an individual person or the facility, it's like, we can figure this out as long as there's time. And I actually do enjoy that. Like it's kind of fun and like rewarding, like this challenge, especially if it's for someone else. Like they have no idea where to go, that they've came to ask me, and it's like, I think I can solve this. And if I can, I'll just ask Chief or the commander, and they'll know the answer. And so it's really rewarding for that side of it. I think being a senior NCO or being just a crew boss for a long time, you can realize like things are never as big as people want to make them sound.
Yeah. Everyone, yeah, that's true. That's true. Because lots of things get thrown your way, but at the end of the day, if people are safe, when people aren't, you know what I mean? When actual, like, it comes to health and safety and stuff like that, I get kind of worried. But that's, I don't know.
I think that was good. Like, when we did it for that one person, like, that was a good call.
I just get freaked out really quick when it comes to that kind of stuff. I don't think I can bear anything, any burdens of my conscience like that. If anything were to go worst case scenario, which is one of my pitfalls, is I catastrophize when it comes to that. Nice word. But everything else, I said the word correctly, I think. I'm not going to attempt it again. Catastrophize. but, you know, with everything else, I think I can, you know, try and mirror you and look at the big picture and realize it's not the end of the world that way.
Yes, look up to me.
Yes.
Reflect what I do. Tell me that again.
Words of affirmation. Yes, I'm going to model your behavior.
Ooh, that's what I was looking for.
There we go.
So when that person had to go to the hospital, I thought it was really cool that I was like, well, this person said we might have to pay the bill if we go there. It might be a couple $100. You're like, okay, I'll pay it. Let's go. And I was like,
you said that.
Did I say it?
Yes, you did.
No.
Yes, you did. 100%. No.
Hey, who said that?
You guys said that? I don't remember.
She said it.
The audience member might have bumped her head. It's very prone to pain.
I swear you said that.
No.
I would
you
say
said that.
I said it today, taking Carlisle.
Well, there you go. So you said it though. I didn't say it.
I mirrored your behavior. And when I said it to him today, I remember thinking you saying that to the other person, and I was like, "Ooh, this sounds good." Because like I could tell he was worried about like going to the closer hospital that we're not supposed to go to.
No, see, I remember. Yeah, I remember it was you. I remember it was you because I was thinking some whack like secondary stuff. I think I was on the phone, but I heard you say it, and I remember thinking some wacky secondhand thought, like, would I put that on my credit card? What the hell? Like, and so I remember that it wasn't me that said it, like, it was you. But that was really cool that you did say it, and I agree. Yeah, worst case scenario, we'll figure it out later. Like,
well, you'll put master on after waiting 13 or 14 months, but you'll realize when people want to give you credit for something, just take it. I'll take the credit.
Take it.
You're
take
welcome, whole airman.
Yes. Yes. We would have paid it. We would have had a GoFundMe, car wash, whatever the heck. And
Can
then
you imagine if we ran a GoFundMe? We have TRICARE. They're not covering this. We can't afford it.
Not covering this. You know, it's a really weird thing.
We went to the hospital. That was 5 minutes from base instead of 50 minutes.
Yes, I would have the car wash in the same location as the hole on base. That way it serves as both a drain and a reminder of what had happened.
There's more than one hole.
That's true. We have multiple car wash locations.
I have 7 car washes.
Whoever's in charge of fixing that, if they ever listen to this, they're going to be like, these petty motherfuckers.
When our person fell into a hole on base, I was like, she should have been more careful. It's her fault. And then I thought that. Sorry. And then when I fell into a hole like a week later, I was like, this is a problem. This is a problem.
No, because I think a lot of us, she had multiple people tell her, you know, I pass by that hole every time. And I think, wow, someone might fall in that. I got to stay away. And then she happens to be the one, she thought that herself, and then she happens to be the one to fall in it. You know, it is sometimes you got to make sacrifices for their greater good. And I really think that's what this person might have been doing. One of those people, great human being.
Promote now.
Separated them. So whole airman. She's the only person with 5 whole airman lines on the EPR.
When she get asked, why are you getting out? Because there's holes all over the
base.
There's
holes, and I can't avoid them.
There's this giant manhole outside of our hooch, and someone was nice enough to put like 3 orange cones, and they're but they're like the tall cones, they're like 4 feet tall. Mm-hmm. And then one night when we were working the hooch, someone thought it'd be funny to take those cones out of the hole, so it's literally just this open 3-foot drop of like.
And people are coming out of the hooch after drinking.
Yeah, and it's pitch black dark.
Oh my goodness.
And when we closed up, is like I remember seeing the cones in the hooch and being like, where do those come from? And as we were closing up, I was like, that is terrible.
Why did they bring them inside?
I don't know. But I put them back in the hole. And so basically, I'm the greatest person on base.
That seemed, that you were. I don't know who would bring them in. Like, oh no, it's cold out here. Let me. What are you doing? Keep that in there. You crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. It was.
That's funny. But I'm glad you probably saved at least one person by doing that.
Hopefully.
So, ready for your next question?
Yes. Thank you, Shank, for that question. Yes. Or that perception.
So, your next question is actually from a leader, our leader, Chief Clark.
I know this guy.
Yes. So I don't know if he wanted me to tell you that it was his question, but I think that you probably would have gone there anyway, just because I can sense his verbiage in this question, and I'm going to ask it the way he envisioned, but
I'm gonna close my eyes and imagine you're Chief Clark.
Okay. Taller. At what point would you say that you would need to loyal up and stop loyaling down? What is your threshold? When would commander's intent trump airman morale?
Oh, geez. I get that loyal up, loyal down thing was something he's very big on. And if anyone doesn't know what that really means, I didn't when he was on my podcast. And basically means you have to be loyal to your commanders and hire senior enlisted people. So for us, senior master sergeants and chiefs and officers and commanders. And you also have to loyal down and be the speaker of your people who can't. So loyal up. Yeah, that's what loyal up and loyal down is. And so to refer back to that question, when do you let loyaling up trump loyaling down? I guess that's really tough. And my answer would be when something's really going to impact the down people, I will tell them how it's going to affect them. I'll tell the leaders how that's going to impact them and why. And even if they say I don't care, do it, I'm going to rephrase it in a different way. Dale Carnegie, getting to yes, those tactics to try to get them to see it my way, as Chief Clark would say, to Jedi them. And if they still say no, do it this way, I will try it one more way, probably upset them, but one more last ditch effort.
Mm-hmm.
And if the answer is still no, do it. I will turn around and be like, guys, this is the good idea. This is what we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Someone with a lot more experience than us thinks this is how we're doing it. I know you don't like it, but this is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And let me know after we do it. Let me know what you think, and I'll forward that up.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably what I would do. And that's very tough to get asked that question and not know an exact situation, because every situation is different. But I do understand we're in the military and we have to do what we're told to do no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my answer, and I think it's a good answer. I wish I would have had like that answer preloaded so I could have thought.
No, I think that was good. That was good.
What would you do?
I feel like you had a little bit of balance in your answer, because it's not like you're like, well, if it needs to happen, it happens. I'll turn around and it is what it is. Because at the end of the day, anyone would say that's not a wrong answer, because mission needs to get done. But I think, even if you were to ask a majority of people, even when I first got in, no one would ever look twice if someone were to say mission over people. But I feel now more days you're starting to hear more people say, why does it have to be that way? Why can't we mission and people? Mission doesn't happen without the people.
Yeah.
You start to hear that a little more, because it's true. So when at the end of the day things need to get done, that's when like what Sergeant Anderson was telling us earlier this evening, approach comes into play. Yeah. I would never try and make it seem as if, all right, this is what it is, guys. It's not me telling you. It's that, I would never separate myself, just like I wouldn't be like, all right, that's you guys. You guys need to get this done. We're expecting this out of you. I would never be so separate from either group. Sometimes you got to play to both sides, where you're communicating, like what you said, what they need to make it happen, and you're trying to get your idea across in different ways or different arguments to try and see if there's any other way we can do something, especially if it negatively affects or will affect morale and anything, to leadership. And then vice versa, when it is what it is, you need to bring it down and be like, you need to tell me, what do you guys need to make this happen? Because it does suck. This is the name of the game. I need to know how I can help you make it happen, because I'm here with you. Like, we're in this shit together. So I think approach plays a huge part. Because I think before, I don't think anyone would have a problem with just being like, that's you guys. Take care of it. And that's just what it is. That's the military hierarchy. That's what we're trained to do. And that's what we were indoctrinated to.
Yeah,
I think style.
And I think whenever we get those decisions we disagree with, you just have to like also participate in it. Like if it's whatever it is for air traffic, like work approach control that day when it's something that bad, or like a new direction. Like,
yeah, that's one technique, because then you're in it and they see it. Yeah, that's one technique for sure. Even if you're not literally sitting there, be in there.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy to talk air traffic because we are air traffic, but I think that's something that could apply everywhere.
And most people were very receptive. Like, if I just, obviously we need more time, but if I was like, this is the direction, what do you guys think? And be like, and I want to hear what you think, I'm going to forward it up. But we're still going to do it, just so you guys know. But I want to hear what you say, and I'm going to forward that. And like, so at least they feel like they had input, that their voice was heard. Because a lot of people don't.
That too. And if it's one of those things you do have the time to communicate, then I think leadership would be receptive to giving you the why. And when you can pass that, it becomes all the easier.
Yeah. Because I bet Chief Clark said it today. No one puts on a uniform and comes to work and is like, I want to fuck some shit. I want to fuck some people's day up. Nobody does. And when he said that, I was like, yeah, I don't think I've ever worked with someone who that was their strategy. They might have been a terrible person and a bad leader and not a good controller and so many negative things, but they never, I think they wanted to do well. They just had a different way of doing it.
I think I've worked with a couple of people that I've put the uniform on, looked in the mirror and said, today's the day I'm going to break KB. And then they come in and do everything they can to just...
I want to fight these people.
No,
who would think that about you?
No, it's just one of those things. Like, it's like a challenge. You're just going to want to keep gnawing at me until I break. Some people, they just like to do that.
Well, they failed. They might have broke you a little bit, but
they've only made me stronger. Now you've created a bigger enemy.
The untruth.
No, but those are the people I ended up learning the most from too. Because I feel like, so many things happen on the day-to-day that I can reflect on and be like, man, if this was me when I was a senior airman and this was said to me, or this is what I saw or whatever, I probably would have like overthought the hell out of that. I probably wouldn't be able to sleep tonight, blah, blah, blah. Things that would have literally bothered me before that now I understand. You know what I mean? Like, it's not me. It's like what they say, especially when it comes to like small, silly words or whatever, people, little comments and stuff. How you make people feel says more about you than them. You know? So I kind of, it doesn't bother me as much because it used to. Being, when you join the military and you're female and you're from small island or whatever, people have little comments here and there that used to really get to me, and now, honestly, I laugh with them because it's not, I don't think everything's intended to hurt me anyway.
Yeah.
You might just join, and two, you're just thinking you have certain ways of thinking that might be a little more fragile because you're expecting to be an outcast. But at the end of the day, it's not all meant to hurt you. Some things are, and that's the stuff that you do reflect on, and you're like, oh, I don't know why you feel that way or why you think you had to make that comment, but no, it's not about me. So
yeah, that's probably very difficult. Most people probably can't do that. It's great you can. I know you probably are someone willing to do that, but a lot of people aren't capable, I think, of removing themselves from that insultive comment that's very misogynistic or however it is.
Yeah. And the only time I get fired up about it is when I hear it about someone else, you know, and it's not me, because I'm like, how dare you? You know, I get fired up when I hear that stuff because I'm not on the receiving end, and they're not, you know, I can't force them to process it any sort of way. Yeah. I can't just say, let go of it. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's not right.
I hate when people talk about people when they're not around. Like when they say comments like that when they're not around. That one really gets me. I read something, I think it was I don't know what book it was in, but if you're not surrounding yourself with people who have like visions, goals, and dreams, and you're surrounding yourself with people who just talk bad about others, like, well, what are you doing? Like, cut those people out.
It's because it's fun.
It is fun.
It's fun to talk about.
I've done it, and I try not to, but I have done it. Witch hunting. We talked about that.
Yeah, it's just what we do. I guess it's the tea. People like talking about the tea. I'm not innocent, of course. It's funny to talk about the stuff that is dysfunctional. We laugh about it. But then it's when you have to draw a line. When it starts getting toxic, I think that's when you could be like, okay, I could be better about not participating in that stuff. So it doesn't do anyone good. It might be, a good vent session for somebody every once in a while, but notice when it's becoming more than that. If it's part of your personality, you walk into the room and the first thing, I know it's just going to be a vent session, or, you know what I mean? Like, if that's all I'm expecting or all you're expecting from me, like, isn't that tiring? Like, you know what I mean?
Start journaling, dude.
Tell me a joke. Please.
Give me a good joke.
Tell me a joke. But yeah. Okay. I feel like that was a pretty good answer. I know you weren't prepared for it or anything. Yeah. I know you weren't prepared for some of these, but I feel like you've been answering them pretty well. We are at 1 hour and 17 minutes. How do you feel about that? Where did you think we were going to get at?
I don't know. You said it was going to be short, so I was like, oh, man, hopefully we break an hour at least. And we've done that. Well, ours was, what was ours? 139, 140, something like that?
I did. I didn't want this to go on too long. I wanted this to be a short one so that really everyone who's your first time viewer, if they wanted to dip their toes in, the first thing they're going to learn about is you, what you thought.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. It's really cool being on this side of the table. And I have like all the foot space because I don't know, as she pointed out, there's like this bar on that side that's really uncomfortable. So it's nice to just kick my feet. I might switch this desk around. It's really comfortable. I'll make this my new spot.
You just have all the tall chiefs just like this.
I'm just short, comfortable on this side. But this is cool. It's cool to have this more comfortable chair. I should just buy another one of these chairs. The book club you created was great. Today's your day. Your Master Sergeant release party. It was really cool. I'm really glad I got to be there.
We should not have put this up.
I really like it. It's so obnoxious.
This is about you today. No. Like, hey, I hijacked this podcast. Hi, I'm back. It's the second time I hijacked this podcast to show you guys. No, like, that wasn't the intent.
I was talking to my friend AJ today. Maybe it was yesterday, but I was talking to her about podcasting, and like ours, even though it was my third one, it was my favorite one just because it was like the first person I was like friends with that I was talking to, and like I knew enough about you to where it was easy and smooth, and you were funnier than me. Not always, but sometimes.
My favorite compliment.
It was just like I didn't have to try to make the jokes. I would just talking and you would make the jokes and I could just sit back and like, oh, that's pretty good. Man, that love language comment you made when you started kissing trainees on the foreheads, that shit just, I couldn't stop laughing.
It's the future.
It is not the future.
In 10 years, you're looking back saying, was I really part of, what changes were I part of? And you walk into a facility, you're about to retire, and you see a trainer kissing their trainee on the forehead. You're like, this is it. This is the Air Force I envisioned. This is all I wanted.
When I was training Tanner Newton, or not training him, I guess, I told him I'm gonna try to do it right now, but I used to be able to make these spit bubbles really easily. A lot of Chamorans can do it. I learned it from a Chamoran guy, and I would always do it, and he would just be like, how do you do that? And he was always curious how to do it. And I told him, the minute you catch one in your mouth, I'll put you up. So whenever I would do it, he would like try to catch these spit bubbles in his mouth because hazing is cool. And then one day we had a guy named Steve Nastasi. He was retired, and it was his first day at Offutt Tower as a civilian. And he comes up, he's been up there for like 10 minutes meeting us. And I blow one up, and Tanner Newton runs to it, gets under it, and catches my spit bubble in his mouth. And everyone in the facility is cheering. And Steve Nastasi was like, why did I come here? He's just like, his first day, why am I here?
Wow.
What have I come? This is like 2009.
I wouldn't even know where to start. That's like, if it's your first day in facility, do you see that and you're like, wow, these guys are close.
This is a brotherhood.
There's a brotherhood here. Or are you like, if I don't stop this, we're one step closer to a video on the internet that doesn't need to reach the internet.
The internet was pretty new then, 2009, 2010. Wasn't, I mean, the internet was a thing, but
well, that's why videos. You guys were practicing spit bubbles, because there was no internet.
I need to hit up Tanner Newton, see if he remembers that.
My goodness.
Your big day. What's it like? I mean, I know you found out not today, but what's it like to know that obviously you wanted this, you got it? What does that feel like?
It's awesome. It's awesome because I know it's not just me. And like, it's crazy to look back on how lucky I was, how lucky I had to be to get into all these circumstances, all these situations where all these opportunities were made available to me. Not to say that I didn't, try my best at what was, in front of me. But I'm not, so in my own ass that I think that I'm this is me. No, like this was me getting command leveled at MacDill because we had too much manning. That had nothing to do with me. And then going to Moody, and then they were about to put me in the tower, and they're like, what would be cool? What if we switch you, for career progression, and we put you in the RAPCon? I wasn't usable in the RAPCon until I got my first rating there. Like, that cut time, that cut manning. They made that decision, not for,
some random master sergeant made that decision.
I was one day in the tower. I got a tour of the tower. I thought I was going to go there the next day. And the second day, I got a text saying, no, you're going to RAPCon tomorrow. Yeah. And, like, that didn't need to happen for me. But had I not gone RAPCon, I wouldn't have had the SIA I needed to deploy the first time.
Adafra?
Yes. And had I not deployed that first time, I would not have finished my bachelor's, and I would not have been able to achieve volunteer victim advocate certifications, which was one of my goals when I was at MacDill. When I saw that program, I was like, I want to be a part of that. That's something I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have happened for me. And if that hadn't happened for me, I don't know. Maybe I would have made tech because of the deployment, but I don't know. And because if I studied hard, maybe, but I don't know. And then I got married. If I hadn't got MacDill right off the bat, I wouldn't have ever met Matt. Yeah. So I wouldn't have joined Spouse, wouldn't have gone to Columbus. We wouldn't have gotten stationed at Columbus together. Wouldn't have deployed to D together with him. Like, there's all these things that happen that I think had nothing to do with me, but I was just there for it. And that's the only reason why this happened. And I think there's a lot of my peers that kill the game. They give their life to airmen, but they have one less deployment than I do. They have one less PCS than I do. They have one less this, one less that, and they're not, you know what I mean? That had nothing to do with me. That was just my luck of the draw. And I feel like it discourages them, and I wish they would know that if they just keep doing what they're doing, as I'm chasing the same thing they are, as far as doing what they need to do for airmen and being a good person. If at the end of the day, that's what you're doing. You're just a good person. You're doing your job by helping people around you. And if that's what you're doing, then you're on the right track. And you shouldn't be so hard on yourself thinking you missed out so much. There's always things you could have done better to make yourself look better on paper. I get that. I've gotten that feedback too. But, like, it's not because you suck. It's because, like, some people just get to reflect it because of things that they've gotten out of just pure circumstance. Like,
yeah, you explained that way better than I could have when I made it, however many years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whenever I got selected. Yeah, you explained that way better. You're saying it's not you, it's your circumstances and the people around you. It's partly you. It is very largely partly you, and it sure the environment plays a role. Yeah. But your modesty there, it reminds me of, like, yeah, maybe I should be more modest, and I am. But, like, that is you, and circumstances and stuff is really cool. I love reflecting on stuff like that, of, like, if you didn't get the best base that everyone wants out of tech school, like, you wouldn't have met Matt, and I think that stuff's really interesting to reflect on. Yeah. But yeah, I think you nailed it. I think you do great. I've always said that about you. Well, I guess not always. I knew you at Moody, but I didn't say shit about you. I didn't know you. But once I getting to know you here, I think you're gonna wear that really well. You're gonna go far.
I appreciate all your kind words. I really do. I didn't want to, downplay everything I've done so much that sounds like bullshit, because it's not. I think I want to for sure put out there that I recognize the opportunities and all the people that helped me get to where I need to get to through their mentorship and their presence in my life for the 9 last years, and even before that, with my parents and such. But it is pretty cool, and I know had it not been for certain things that were pure luck, I wouldn't have gotten here so fast. Like, that's what's crazy to me, is that people are pointing out it seems quick. That's the part that I think, is a lot of circumstance. Like, it is crazy.
Yeah, like I'll be like, when you were talking about how there's a lot of people that could promote before you, or that somehow you got the rank before them. Like, I agree. Like, not making senior my first time a couple months ago was like, I was fine with it. Seeing the amount of people like Christopher Kelling, Derek Pace, there's so many people that I know are better than me. It's like, even though I did want to make it and I did try to do the things you're supposed to do and I didn't make it, I'm like okay with it, because there's so many people better than me that had I actually made it and had to be their boss or make it over them, I would not feel good. So it's kind of, but then there's also names you see on the list and you're like, what? Dang it. What? That guy can't be my boss.
I hope, and that's what I hope. I hope no one sees my name. They're like, I really don't. That would hurt me. But at the end of the day, if that was someone's opinion, I can't do anything about it. I can only show up and show you what I'm about. Like,
I would love to meet someone who thinks that way about seeing your name on that list. I was like, why do you think that? Like, I have to, and be honest. Why do you think that?
She can't spell here.
She doesn't know the difference
between
here
uses
and here.
impact a lot. She doesn't use the word effect for some reason.
I'm not gonna learn.
I refuse to learn anything new.
Someone told me today, but this week it was like, one of them's a verb and one of them's a noun, and I was like, how can it be a noun? It's not a person, place, or thing. Like, it's not a noun. How does that help me? Oh no, we're not getting into it.
Okay, we won't. You'll just have, hopefully there'll be comments on your video explaining it to you.
You know what's weird?
When I say that, it's going to be me commenting just to troll you.
I'll delete it. I'll delete this whole thing. I want to make this episode number 10, but I've only had 8. Just so it's like like a 10 is like a good mark for it to be reverse podcast. But I'll probably just throw it on number 9, because then...
You know what my favorite number is?
What's the back of your jersey say?
Oh.
Well, that's just a bunch of hair.
Oh. Dang it, audience.
Well, if you're a podcaster, her jersey says Fraser number 9. Yes. What does number 9 mean to you?
I notice this is gonna sound like one of those horoscope things, but it's not. I'm not a weirdo. Okay, I am, but not because of this. So when I was growing up, I felt like I was seeing the number 9 everywhere. Then ended up being like a number I raced with. And like motocross was kind of like a family sport growing up, so I used number 9 a bunch. So number 9 was just all throughout my childhood. Kind of, I guess some people get passionate about their numbers in high school too. Yeah, like Matt's like that with number 4 from football. How about you?
That was number 1.
Number 1. Okay.
For that reason.
Yes, you gotta have the best. You gotta be number 1. I get it. That makes sense. But yeah, so that's why number 9 is my favorite. I saw it everywhere. Even when I came to Korea, I remember I noticed the number 9, so I was looking at everything, trying to find the number 9. Well, you know what happens when you go anywhere trying to find something. You're gonna see it. It's like confirmation bias, numerical style. Like, I was seeing the number 9 on the first taxi I ever got into. Was a taxi number 9. First, plane I got into, I was in seat number 9. First this, first that, 9. Like, yeah. So I thought I was seeing it everywhere, so that became my favorite number. I thought it was like a sign.
That's a really good reason. Yeah, we used to at thing 11:11. You ever said like Make-A-Wish at 11:11? And me and like 2 other friends, Maxwell McGrath and Brianna Ross at the time. I think her last name's Galliard now. She got married. I don't keep up with her, but we would see 11:11. We would message each other all the time, and then like I would just always see it. And now I don't talk to either of those 2 anymore. Like, I feel like I don't see 11:11 much anymore. It just stopped happening. That's a really good point. That you just see it everywhere. And your birthday is July 9th?
It is. I should have mentioned that first. I forgot. But yes,
well,
that's probably where it started. Opened my eyes, and I was like, what day is it, doctor?
That's my favorite number now.
Let me guess, doc. 9. How long was I in there? 9 months. You see a coincidence? Is there a pattern here?
This baby is... God so knows so much.
This baby just said 9 words to me. I swear to you.
Keep going.
No, I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm like counting this 4, 8. No, I'm just not going to get into that. No.
Yeah, I don't know how many people made master, but I'm going to guess this year 4,500. So you do have a 13-month. You are going to be July.
Yay.
It's a long wait.
See, I thought I told someone, I don't know, maybe April, and okay, July.
I'm pretty sure.
Gotcha.
I guess we have to know how many people made it, but I think it's 4,500. I think.
I think you're right. I'm not gonna lie. This last few days have been so busy. I haven't even looked at scores. I haven't.
Yeah, it just came out. I think today.
Yeah, and I asked Matt. I was like, "Did you see?" He's like, "No, I haven't looked at it." I'm like, "Oh, you haven't looked at it?" And he was like, "What? You already made it. Why do I have to care?" I was like, oh, "Okay, whatever." You're not curious? He's busy too. But like, yeah, it just is one of those things where, all the computers in the facility break, and then your cat gets blocked. B and C. Yeah. We're at 1 hour and 33 minutes.
We're doing it.
We did it.
We did it.
So, you know what I mean? I think this is going to be the video that we're going to put a really good thumbnail in there.
Yeah.
A good intro, outro.
You got to do that thing where you're going to like entice people into watching it.
Oh, the clip?
Yeah.
All right. So this is what you're going to put in the intro?
Well, I thought you wanted to do a trailer to make people like, oh, I have to listen to this.
Oh. Yeah, that's what I was saying. But if you wanted to do a trailer, I could. But it would just be like a minute long.
Yeah.
You can't monetize anything under 10 minutes, so that's fine. But it's basically, you're going to take this clip. TP, I'm going to tell you right now. And I'm not even playing with you. I was about to get out of the air. So I'm about to walk out, and I was going to say, I quit. Let me tell you what this motherfucker did.
Oh, yeah, please tell me.
And night comes in. That's what you got to do.
For Mr. Tisue. Why did you abandon your people?
Why did you abandon your people?
So that's a real thing? Because this, like, ever since I heard this a couple of hours ago, I was like,
it's not. I don't know what people... I'm going to ask the audience, what people would you like him to answer that for?
Well, his people.
Who is your people? You know what?
He knows who.
This is a 2-part question. Who is your people?
In
life.
Oh, man. See, that's really tough.
Who would you say is your people? We all got people.
It's whoever I'm like closest to in that time. So if you picked a base at Offit, it was like 12 fucking people. It was 12 of my best friends. We did everything together.
Yeah.
We had this joke where people would have hot dogs, and if it's a long elaboration, but downtown Omaha sells hot dogs like a New York street. There's hot dogs, and we'd get drunk and want a hot dog. So when there was one hot dog, it was the joke to slap it out of their hand. It was just the silliest, funnest thing to do, and you just really bond. Like,
that's so mean, but honestly, that could have gone anywhere because you're just talking about spit bubbles into your mouth. Yeah. So I'm glad you guys weren't like chucking hot dogs across bars into each other's
I guess I
mouths.
had a really long thing I was going to go about every base, but that's actually, I guess, a better answer. Is those are my people. Those 9 dudes that were best friends with at Offit, and I still keep up with them. And when I think about any event, if I wanted to go on vacation with my friends, it's those guys. If it's I want to just talk FaceTime with a bunch of dudes and just talk dumb shit, it's those guys. But then again, at every base when I do move, I meet my group of friends and these are my people. And what sucks and you get used to in the military is you move and you kind of stop talking to those people. Those guys at Offit, we have that group chat that we're all invested in. We all packed. You cannot leave this. But the rest of them, I go base to base and I have those groups. And then when you leave, you kind of stop talking to them, which is kind of sad, but very common in the military. It's something we're just used to.
Goodbyes.
But those are my people. And so I guess now that why'd you abandon your people?
It's a 2-part question. Why did you abandon your 9 people? 9 people.
Oh, wow, that did come back up. I thought I was re-enlisting and I really wanted that BOP thing that's enticing, and I did, and I ended up at Moody.
So you picked
it was number 8.
Georgia.
I did.
Over your 9 people.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess you can say it was... Wait, why did you pick Moody?
So...
if you want to get into it.
When I was in high school, there's this girl that I really liked, and she went to Valdosta State. And so that's in Moody, essentially. And so, I just wanted to I still kind of talked to her. Yeah, but by the time I actually got there, well, she had graduated and left before I even got there, but I still heard it was a cool spot.
Okay.
And so you can only pick 8 bases, and I was I heard Valdosta's okay, so it's number 8.
Yeah, it's not bad. The area's not terrible. Yeah. For a question that wasn't serious at all, I feel like you gave a really profound answer on friendship, especially for military members. Because some of my closest friends, like what I was saying in podcast number 3 with the guys from McDill, the first station. I'm married to one of them. The 2 others were in our wedding. You know what I mean? And since then, I've been
the best man.
No, the best man was someone from childhood friendship,
that makes
teenage friendship.
That,
yeah. But it's awesome. It's crazy. It is a true thing. I don't know if everyone's had that, but for sure too, when you go to different bases, you have your people.
Yeah,
it's good. I mean, I haven't felt that. There's, Moody is one of those places where it was very hard for me. I could say now that there are people I was closer to, but it was tough.
I could imagine. I mean, I don't know the ratio 80-20% male female. It is going to be harder for you to make those connections. You don't have as big of a variety of a pick.
Yeah.
It's just an assumption, and I guess you're saying so. It's
too,
reality.
Not that you have that little of a pick too, but even if I didn't care, the perception is reality thing was thrown my way a lot early in my career. I mean, now it's probably still thrown at me, but it's just different. When you're, I guess, single airman or you're young or whatever the heck, people expect you to do this and that, so you hear more advice, I guess. But that was thrown my way a lot, so I distanced myself. I didn't really have people that I felt were my people, but looking back, I still talk to people from Moody that are really good people that, now I could say they're probably my people, 1 or 2.
They're probably.
They know. If they're listening to this, they know.
Yeah, we've got this far,
probably.
For sure.
They might think that we're not people, but you're my people. I'll snap you.
You don't get a snap, Yeah, I just couldn't imagine if I didn't have if I lost those 9 dudes, they just cut me out for whatever reason, it would be miserable. Those are those people I count on. If I need a vacation, I know I can hit them up, and someone's gonna come. Someone's
That's
coming
awesome.
with me. I just
need a break. Let's go.
Yeah. I can tell my deepest secrets, whatever it is, and they won't share it.
That's crazy. You have 9 people. That's awesome. Yeah. That's more than what I think a lot of people have. I think a lot of people are out there and they don't feel like they have a person, let alone a people's of 9 count. Those connect. You can have just tackling someone out of the blue and they laugh about it. Just the dumbest things you can do. Yeah, I'm getting in my feelings here thinking about it. Obviously, I have to get over. Cry.
Obviously, they know there's a few of them that there's 9 of us and we can't all be the 9 best friends. We all have our picks between them, but we're all still
close. Yeah. That's awesome. See, if you do a soundbite or a little clip too, where you're getting choked up, I think that'd be good. It'd be me saying, "Let me tell you what," and then
go get an onion.
Yeah, You're just like, I just never thought. And then we put that in the trailer, and then people be eating that up, wait a week, and then build up, be like, guys, actually, I don't think I'm gonna put this video out. And then you just put it up, like, give me some votes. If you guys think I should put this video out, whatever, they vote on it, then it comes out, and you put it out, has 1,000 views, because we built it up. 1,000 views and 1,000 disappointed people.
Yeah, you just downvoted.
No, I think this has been really fun, because I think a lot of people have been wanting to hear from you. But
that is cool. It is cool to hear people want to hear from you, because you don't really think that. Like, I enjoy listening to people talk. That's why I did this. I enjoy learning from them, and if people want to listen, it's cool. So to have a couple controllers, maybe more, who knows, be like, oh, I wish TP would talk more. It's like,
1,000%. Right. But, like, you know, we get it, because you're giving, you know, the other person on the other side their spotlight. And 100%, I've loved your podcast and everything they've had to say, but I've always been curious. And I was like, I'm going to ask that when I get to work. But then I was like, I bet there's someone else out there that feels the same way. They just want to hear that answer for themselves, so why not try something new? Which, thank you for letting me do it, because you could have asked someone else to facilitate the reverse podcast, the hijacked podcast.
I did have someone else suggest it when I told this person that you were doing it. They were like, wait, you told me I could do it. And I was like, oh sorry.
No.
I don't remember that, but
I mean, it's podcast number 9. It was simply meant to be. I'm sorry.
That is coincidence.
I clearly get all the opportunities. Just kidding. Okay. If you have, or if you're ready, I'll give you the last
I'm ready.
Round of questions, which you're familiar with. Because now it's our turn to hear.
Are we building the... Go ahead.
Yes. It's our turn to hear, you know, best controller, book smart, natural leader, the nicest, and who you'd pick to follow you around your career.
So this is really stressful that you asked me this, because every time I ask someone, I'm like, you know, if you don't pick someone, if they're not in your top 5, they're gonna exile you. Like, my 9 friends, they're all controllers. I have to get all 9 of these guys in here, but I'm not. I won't get all 9 in. I know that, and they'll forgive me. So the first one is best air traffic controller, right?
Oh, yes. I had to look at your stick.
Yeah. What are the questions? So there's 2 that come to mind. I'm going to say their names and I'll pick one. Robert Potter from OSAN, and Spencer Watson was the 13 mic at one time, got out, and he was just off at Tower civilian. And I'm torn, because I know one of them listen and one of them don't, but I'm going to have to go with Spencer Watson, just because when I was at 3 level, he was that guy that didn't have to run 2 sims on me a day, but he chose to. He didn't have to drill me with questions every single day until I knew it. And then obviously I studied and became better from it. And now that's something I did when I was a trainer, is drill people with questions, because I saw how great it was. Like, I made rank. I got to test for master, which really helped me. I don't think I would have made it board score alone. But because of Spencer Watson, I knew these rules really, really well, or at least maybe not anymore, but I did at the time. But he was just a great controller. He was he would just, and we were a heavy base, so it was slow, but those moments where I got busy, you would want Spencer Watson up there, and it was cool because he was relatively young. He was like 30, 31 at the time, and he just could always command a facility. He just, one of those guys you just want to follow, and he's a good controller. Robert Potter, you're real close to number 1, number 2, but the dude, I remember Robert Potter we were at OSAN. It was like a KFT recovery. It was insane. And he told a guy to break approach end and told another guy follow F16 break and approach end. And it was a 4 in F16. It went all the way like 2 miles past departure end and then broke. And Robert was like, Wyvern 1-1, follow F16. He I guess he broke 2 mile departure end. And there's like 8 other aircraft just like flying in. And he was just so calm, cool, and collected. But
that's awesome.
I'm going to pick both of those, Robert Potter and the next question.
That's awesome that you got to work with someone who shows skill for Robert Potter and then also passion for Watkins. Like, that's awesome. Yeah. And it's funny how like a little bit of freaking passion will inspire so much in somebody.
It does.
Especially early on too. Book smart.
Book smart. Ooh. Brian Belford was pretty book smart. Almost too book smart to where he got in a lot of trouble. I'm gonna go with Belford. As a cross trainee, I'm not trying to knock cross trains, but a lot of times their training coming up isn't the same as ours, because there's usually staff sergeants, maybe a senior airman, or even higher than staff. And so they get it a little easier because obviously you're not going to belittle a staff sergeant. You're just not going to do that. But Brian Belford still was very, very intelligent with the books, knew the rules. And then he would know all these weird AFIs and stuff that no one really knew or cared about at the rank of staff sergeant. He just knew these things. Definitely someone I thought would get really far. Unfortunately, he got out. But book smart, that would have to go with Brian. I would also pick Turner. I never worked with a dude. I just remember, like, our sim was in the RapCon. So I would go to the RapCon, and he would be walking always with this .65.
Yep. Studying.
Dude, you already made staff. What are you doing? You're good.
He had an intensity about him. All right, that's awesome. Yeah. And I agree. Belford is impressively book smart.
And he reads.
Yep. And it's not just about one subject, like we said before. Well-rounded.
Yeah.
Natural leader.
Oh, that one's tough. I feel like out of all these categories, best, like, well, I try to think, what would I want to get picked at? And there's like 3 of them that I'd want. The first one, third one, and fifth one. Best natural leader. It's tough. Stephen Harrow comes to mind. Belford again comes to mind. Allison Kasperger, did you meet her at all at Moody? She had a making chief. She's a tower chief controller for a while.
I think that I have heard her name because she came in after I left, and I still had friends there. If that's where she went.
She left around the same time I think I did, so we left.
Well, maybe it was before then.
Yeah, she left. Shortly after again. But she was really good. Chief controller, like everyone just wanted to follow her. She's very, very similar to you. Just was a good worker, always cared, would listen to you. Very similar to you. So
jokes. She's crazy funny.
I never heard her say a single joke. I don't think she watched The Office. I know she likes The Office.
That's all I needed.
You as well. So between the 3, you, Kasperger, and Harrow, Belford, and it's 4. Myself. Take my. Man, it sucks having to pick one. I guess I'm gonna go with Harrow. He just a guy that got in trouble and was able to overcome it. Always had his people. Like, he's the only guy that has told me, like, be perfect. Like, I had my feet on the counter as the soup. And he's like, hey, put your feet down. And that I did it and was like, oh, I still like you. Like, that I didn't get upset in that moment. But yeah, those are my 4. You, awesome. Harrow, Kasperger, and Belford.
He has charisma. I do like Harrow. Sergeant Harrow. He helped me a lot while I was at Moody, too.
Okay. And he was the tower chief controller, right?
Not while I was there. He had just gone back from a deployment, and I remember he was doing a lot to help people with decorations and stuff. There were a bunch of people outbound, I think, at the same time. He helped me with my decoration. He helped me write, I think, an awards nomination, and there's a bunch that he helped me with. He was just there, and to help. It was awesome. But I think after I left is when he went to the tower.
Okay. Yeah, he was good. He was always like, hey, let's get a beer. It's just like, all right. As a staff sergeant, a master sergeant ask you that. That's a really cool offer.
No, that was not my experience.
Yeah, it was mine. He knew his audience.
VPC. I was like, oh, help. Yes. Okay, nicest.
Jake Lewis. Guy should own a Chick-fil-A.
We talked about him.
Oh, yeah, we did.
We've talked about this guy so much. And then we talked, I think you've spoken about, you probably didn't say his name in the one where you talked about, you just mentioned, while phrasing this question, you'd say, who can you see working at Chick-fil-A? And I know it's because you're thinking of Lewis. That's awesome. But yes, I agree.
I do phrase my question for Jake Lewis. He's
a good guy.
I want to try to reflect. I wish I journaled back then so I'd be like, what's something Jake Lewis did that wasn't nice? I don't think I'd be able to pick anything.
Who would you want to follow you around for your career?
I know you picked our Jamie for the day. That's a good pick. Someone that's always a little ray of sunshine. Positive person. But mine...
opposite. I want to get shit on every day.
It's tough. So honestly, you would think I'd pick one of those 9 guys from my chat. But I have them. I have them through our virtual chat, and whenever I actually need them. Even after I left off it, I've probably hung out with most of them more than 5 times. It's a thing. I still fly out and hang out with those guys, even though I've been overseas for a long time. But my pick, I met him at OSAN, Brian Sigelski. Me and this guy, we were actually in tech school together. He was my, whatever you call, Bay Chief. Is that what the leader of your...
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and we barely knew... We didn't hang out at all at tech. He was a few months ahead of me. But we get to off it, and he gets there a month after me. Very similar to you and I. I got there, he got there the month after me, and so we were just the same. I was lucky and got to be a tech sergeant living off base with a vehicle, but we would always hang out. He was on that 6 and 2 schedule, and anytime I hit him up, he was like, if he wasn't at work, which he was there a lot, he would hang out with me. And about 3 months in, his AC in his room doesn't work, and they're kicking him off base. And so he tells me, hey, I'm moving off base. I want to get Tommy, your realtor, best realtor in Osan, Ace Realty, Tommy Lee. And so he goes to Tommy, and Tommy like jokingly is like, hey, there's an apartment right under TP if you want to see that one. And Brian's like, really? Okay, let's go look at it. And I have like, in my opinion, the best apartment in Osan. It's like this 2-floor apartment, the biggest balcony overlooking the entire said. It was this great room. And then then Tommy's like, I'm joking. It's a really small room you don't want. It's like 300 square feet, worse than a dorm room. And Brian's like, well, let me see it. And so we go there, and it is literally like the size of this room and my kitchen. Like, it's just a small apartment, but it's literally right below me. Like, the floor, I'm on the 10th floor, it's the 9th floor. I'm 10:05, he's 9:05. He's like, he didn't even look at another apartment. He's like, no, I want this. Look, dude. God. He's like, dude, we could put a ladder here, and then we're just roommates.
Oh my God.
And he just really wanted to do it. I was like, this is a great idea. Like, and my girlfriend was living with me at the time, and he was like, I don't care. Like, this is what I want to do. And we both had a balcony. We wanted to build this bridge. And Tommy was like, you're not going to do that. But we had the plan to do it. But Brian, that's my guy. He always wanted to hang out. I still talk to him. He never got 100 on his PT test. When we got to Osan, he said that's what he wants to do. So we would run sometimes. And sure enough, asshole got 100 on his PT test. And instead of, I was happy for him, but then I also started like feeding him really bad food and like bringing him candy all the time.
Oh my gosh. I hope he sees this and he's like,
knows.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Oh, he knows.
At his anniversary, for him and his wife, I sent them candy. He's like, oh, that was really nice. He was like, yeah, I need you to slow down. Your PT test is coming up. That's my guy. That guy, and he was a great controller too. He was really good. So to have someone like that follow me around all the time would be great.
Yeah, it sounds fun. He would just be right under you the whole time, building
we
walkways to each other. So
like a ladder. It was like I was right above him. We had
over 9 stories.
Yeah. Well, no. He was one apartment below me, but my balcony was on my 2nd floor, so it was like a 2-story ladder. That's what we were.
Yeah, but if you fall off, you're falling 9 stories, and that's my point.
So I guess you'd have to see it. So his balcony extended out. So like mine was like this, and his was there. It was like a pyramid kind of.
So it was pseudo safe.
Yeah, it was like a 60-degree angle.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we spent like $100 on Christmas lights in like August. And we just have like these giant Christmas lights that showed XXX.
Oh
like,
my God.
Going across our balconies.
Right over the sand.
Yeah, it was good.
That's funny.
It was silly.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I feel like you had some pretty good picks and you explained all of them so well. It's awesome how like of every controller that you've interviewed too, they've all talked about different people. And then some people, like you've mentioned Turner and Lewis, like we did get stationed at Moody, which is the same base, but then we had a slight overlap, but it's cool that we know people and have all these like connections. Like Belford, for example, went to tech school with my husband.
Oh, nice.
They're in the same class.
But Matt, I guess, was a 3-level airman, right? At a basic, yeah.
So yeah,
that's cool.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, I don't have any more questions for you. Do you have anything else you'd like to say?
Oh man, it was cool to talk about myself. I tried to Dale Carnegie you a little bit. I didn't know if I tried to. I think it just comes naturally. I prefer to listen than keep talking. Could you imagine if you had to talk for 2 hours straight?
I talk a lot. I talked a lot on this podcast. We're almost at 2 hours. I want it to be under 2 hours so that people are like, oh, this one's under 2 hours.
All right. Well, it'll be quick. You're going to have to do, you got to do a little monologue. That's got to be you because I always do that and outlog. And I'll type that up for you because it's pretty generic. But no, I don't really have anything else. It was cool to have an audience for the first time. I don't know if you guys enjoyed it the whole time, but thank you for being here. It was a unique experience. It's really cool to sit on this side of the table. I think it'll really help me going forward because, like, even when I start trying to let you talk, I can realize, like, as you were talking, I was like, "Hey, let me talk again." Like, this is about me. Like, and I bet that people on this side of the table are thinking that.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's not. And then, like, obviously, I wasn't thinking that too often, but I could see how people on this side who don't. I have 20 hours now doing this. You know, I've eclipsed 20 hours, so I'm used to it, and it's nice to let other people just get their words out. I think that notepad idea was good because as I was talking, you were writing things, and often I'm like, at the end of every podcast, I'm like, shit, I forgot to ask that.
I know nothing.
And so the last thing I have before we end it, and I'll let you say the final words, because I missed this last time, and someone that you know, that you're really close with and that you wish could follow you around at every base was like, you didn't ask her this. I listened to it, and you didn't ask her.
Oh, my God.
So this should have been an early question, but it's going to be an end question, and then we can end this. When you were growing up, and then you joined the Air Force, and something that you were really happy about is that you could eat food to your little heart's content. Can you explain that?
Dang. Okay. You know, even better than that. So because they had 3 meals and stuff, it's not that like I was running around Guam barefoot with only snacks. I mean, I was, but like there was food around. So it's not really that. It's just that, you know, you grow up and it's different. Like, we'd have family meals at dinner, and then all throughout the day, I was left to my own devices. So, like, I would be cooking my own stuff. I remember cracking an egg on a plate, and I put it in the microwave, and then I'd watch it cook.
And you were 17.
This was yesterday. No. No, like, just being a kid, like, you know, outside the apartment, outside the house, we moved a lot at the beginning, and then we were at our house the whole time after that. But, like, that was my childhood. I was really like left just to be my own little kid and explore and stuff. I'd snack but the whole like 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner thing, I didn't think that, you know, like, I don't know, it's different. And hot water is probably a better example. I didn't have hot water growing up. We probably did here or there, but I can't really recall. So when I got to basic training and there was hot water in the showers, I was like, I can't believe this. We're spoiled. I'm spoiled right now. And then the food. You eat the food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it's not like a little food. Like, I thought it was a lot of food. So I think that coupled with that, you know what I mean? I was like, the only thing we didn't have up in there was our Wi-Fi and cell phones on. Hot water right off the bat, because, you know, as soon as you get off the bus, you make the phone call, and they rush you up and they're like, go wash up, go shower. And it was hot water, and I was like blown away.
It's going to be the best 8 weeks of my
life.
life.
I was blown away. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if that's kind of what you wanted to hear, just how like it was such a drastic change leaving home, just growing up one way, and you don't really think you're like, I don't know, you might think you're without here and there and stuff, but I had like a happy childhood that just was, I think, harder than maybe some others. So a lot of other stuff that goes into that was just basically me having a family that is their work ethic is like insane. They never stop working. They're super hard workers. Then they come home and they cook dinner for an entire family. Like, that's just how they are. They don't stop. And then you know, that's what you're born and you're raised with, that type of work ethic. And then all of that, and then what you're working with as far as growing up, you go to basic training, and it's like, now you're working with people who haven't had that. They haven't had to do their own laundry before. They haven't had to do the dishes. They haven't had to KP duties. Like, all these things are new for people, so I can see how they struggled, and I'm so fortunate that, like, I got my ass whooped all throughout childhood to just do these things that made me a lot more independent than I think, you know, some others might have had. But it's I don't know if that was what you were trying to ask, if that's the answer you wanted.
It does to me. I mean, I think the exact like wording of how I heard it was, growing up, you didn't have all the food. Like, you're just like, the shower thing is really cool. You kind of forget how good I have things until I like really reflect on what other people don't have. So yeah, that's interesting. And then just not having, like, the person said you could eat until you were full, which is something you never really got to do as a kid because food was relatively limited. You had what you had, and then you're just like, all right, go out and play. Yeah. And now you're just sitting, and you're like, I think it's too, when you're an adult, when you become an adult, and you're like, I can just not stop buying things. I can have 2 packs of ramen all to myself and just never leave this dorm room. You know what I mean? Like, it comes with adulthood too, but yeah, it's one of those things where you don't even, it's crazy. Yeah. So as we go forward, trying to figure out how to develop the best kind of leader, it's do that to their childhood. Make them deal what you're dealing with.
No,
that's the way to do it.
Like, Yeah, I had fun. If someone could replicate my childhood, I think like just the whole family concept too would be awesome. Yeah, I'd say that was a blessing that I didn't realize how people don't get that until I left home. Which that's the case with so many things. You don't realize A, B, and C until you leave, and you're like, holy cow.
Yeah.
People have it differently. People have had it way harder. People that I was right next door neighbors with have had it way harder. People I was in class with have had it easier, and they didn't know my struggle. That's just like human nature, I think.
Yeah, it is. Well, I'm glad you got the last words in this thing. That was important for me to do. Just had to make sure we all know that you're the speaker. So I don't know what kind of cool thumbnail we're going to come up with, but our little cool patch that we have is on the sides where no one can see it because we swapped seats. So I feel like that would be a good little thing.
18 minutes later. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for letting me come back to do the reverse podcast and hijack the podcast. Yep. Because I think a lot of us want to hear what you had to say, and boom, you gave it to us. So thank you.
Cool. Thanks for doing it. I had a lot of fun. It was cool to be on this side. I'll remember number 9 is important to you. Audience, thanks for being here.
Number 9, really you're going to see it all the time now.
I will. All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed this reverse podcast and you enjoyed listening to the answers that we got from our favorite host from our favorite podcast, John Tisue. Have a Tisue podcast. Current platforms are YouTube, Spotify, Pocket Casts, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, and Anchor, so make sure you check it out.